So this is early January. We're on January the 8th now, 2016. George Osborne, the Chancellor of the Exchequer for the UK, the Right Honourable George Osborne MP, he is also campaign manager for the Tory party when they go to elections. So I'm just going to say quickly that that is really becoming apparent, if it wasn't before. Pardon me. He's been on the news saying stuff like that. He said two basic statements on the news. First he said, watch out everybody because there's an interest rate rise coming. Implication in brackets, the economy's doing so well we're going to have to raise interest rates. Now it's not up to him, it's up to the Canadian guy that he hired, who's now in charge of the Bank of England. He's chairman of the Bank of England board. So it's not up to George Osborne to do that, but George Osborne is plainly publicly pressuring Mark Carney, the Canadian guy, into pushing interest rates up. Okay, the Americans have knocked it up by 0.25% or something, something tiny, but it's a bit premature. But the subtext in brackets that he's saying with that statement, watch out for interest rates rising, everybody, you know, because if you've got debts like mortgages, you'll be in trouble. Not that you can do anything about it, of course. I mean, what you're going to do is he basically telling you get rich quickly. Oh yeah, okay. He's warning you as though the economy is rising so fast, Mark Carney will have to rush out in February with an interest rate rise. I think not. The second thing he's been saying is people shouldn't get complacent that the economy, the repairs to the economy are now complete and that the economic recovery is fully completed. People should not get complacent about this. Again, subtext, right, in brackets, subtext is the economy is doing so well. Now, don't get complacent, everyone, just because things are going fantastically well. Bullshit, right? If you live in a lovely little bubble in London and you're in a certain income bracket, or in some other parts of the country, maybe Aberdeen, up until the oil price crash, of course, you might well have got to think that, you know, the credit crunch was over and so on. But actually, somebody in Sky News the other night, on Thursday night, the 7th, January 2016, there was a guy on there who showed a graph of the recovery from the repression, the depression or recession of the 1930s. And of course what he pointed out was that by the banks taking incredible action by printing loads of money, in effect, that is electronically allowing people to borrow a lot more at a cheaper rate or whatever it is they do, in effect printing money, we have avoided the worst of the credit crunch in some ways. I don't think individuals have. I think maybe the figures and statistics have been made to look a bit better than they would otherwise. But anyway, that's George Osborne. Now there's a term rather, for what it is George Osborne's doing. I saw it beautifully encapsulated in an episode of NCIS Los Angeles, where one of the team, they've got a team of investigators, and one of the team comes in and says, she's got a jogging outfit on, she said, oh, I must be coming down with a virus. You know, I've run, that 3 miles took me 25.5 minutes. And the guys are going, hey, that's quite a fast time. And she said, yeah, but I could do it so much better than with this virus. Oh, snotty. And then the guy says, hang on, humble brag. That's what it is. George Osborne is doing a sort of humble brag. He's saying something as though it's something bad happening, but actually it's a boast. So he's done it with these two statements. Watch out for interest rates rising, because that's what happens when the economy's doing really well, everybody. You know, bollocks. And the second statement is, not only do you have to watch out for these interest rate rises, but don't get complacent. You know, all you people up in Yorkshire, or Birmingham, or in some slum in Manchester, watch out for God's sake, or in the flooded areas of Cumbria. Watch out for God's sake, don't start sitting back and thinking that you can book your next 3 holidays in a row because you're so complacent, but the economy's doing so well. Right? So this is bullshit, and George Osborne is really showing his campaign manager hat rather than his Chancellor of the Exchequer hat. Now this is something that at least Gordon Brown never did. Gordon Brown would never have been put in charge of a campaign for electing anybody, right? But the good thing was he was focused most of his political life on the money, whatever mistakes he made. Now, George Osborne is deliberately broadcasting propaganda for the rest of the world and for our own countrymen and women to digest. So your humble brag, George, I don't think anyone's actually buying it. Maybe it goes down at Tory headquarters where people have to nod and grin at you anyway, nod and smile at you anyway. Absolute baloney. Thanks very much for watching and listening.